The sun-scorched Willow Grove estates, its relentless heat turning the air into a shimmering haze. Lawns were clipped to perfection, but the cicada's drone was a constant reminder of summer's grip. For 91-year-old Margaret Evans, a beloved resident of this pristine community for over 50 years, the heat was a small price to pay for her daily rides on her mobility scooter, nicknamed Sunny. A fall years ago had weakened her hips, but Sunny's gentle hum gave her freedom to join bingo nights at the clubhouse, to tend her award-winning roses in the community garden. Lately, though, a cloud hung over her outings. A woman named Cynthia Reynolds, or Cindy the Tyrant, as some residents muttered under their breath. Cynthia, a middle-aged force on the Homeowners Association, wielded her authority like a scepter. Her piercing gaze caught every stray leaf, and her sharp tongue enforced Willow Grove's maze of rules with zeal. To her, Margaret's scooter was a blight, a clunky machine that dared to mar her VY shine of order. Last week, she'd ambushed Margaret near the clubhouse, her voice cutting like a blade. "Margaret, that thing's an eyesore, probably leaking oil again, and it's not in a designated spot." Margaret, calm as ever, replied, "Morning, Cynthia. Sunny's electric, no oil, and she's parked out of the way." Cynthia's eyes narrowed. "Rules are clear. Some of us care about aesthetics." The word stung, Leah VYing Margaret unsettled. Then there was Tom, the estate's overworked maintenance man, a wiry figure with a tool belt and a permanent scowl. Tom patched sidewalks, fixed faucets, and chased off stray raccoons, but the residents' endless complaints wore him down. Margaret was always kind, once gently noting a shaky railing near her roses, but Tom's heavy sighs and cryptic looks hinted at deeper resentment. She'd seen him intense, whispered clashes with Cynthia near the HOA office, her pointed gestures and his slumped shoulders screaming conflict. Cynthia had once publicly blasted Tom's sloppy work on her balcony railing, vowing he'd pay if it failed. It made Margaret wonder what simmered beneath Tom's quiet surface. On a blistering Thursday, Margaret steered Sunny to the clubhouse for a social gathering, parking carefully under the shady overhang to avoid Cynthia's ire. She spotted a loose bolt on a hanging fern bracket and thought to mention it to the manager, Greg, later. Inside, the cool air and friendly chatter promised a good afternoon. Up on her second-floor balcony, Cynthia scanned the estate like a queen. Her eyes landed on Sunny, tucked in the shade she often claimed for herself. Rage Florida vein pulsed at her temple. That old woman, always dodging the rules, stealing the best spots. It was maddening. A wicked thought sparked. A heavy concrete planter, brimming with petunias, teetered near the edge of Cynthia's balcony. With a grunt of effort, fueled by years of pent-up spite, she shoved it over the railing. It hung in the air for a heartbeat, then crashed down. Inside the clubhouse, laughter died as a deafening crunch echoed outside. Margaret's iced tea trembled in her hand, fear and confusion washing over her. What could have made that awful sound? Outside, the sight was ghastly. The planter had pulverized Sunny, mangling her handlebars and shattering her controls. Soil and flowers spilled like grim debris across the pavement. The crowd gasped, realizing Margaret could have been killed if she'd been on Sunny. Relief that she was safe mixed with fury. Who did this? An accident? The planter's weight made that unthinkable. Unknown to Cynthia, who was slipping back into her apartment, her heart racing, Margaret's son, James Evans, the county's tough-as-nails district attorney, was minutes away. He'd been at the courthouse, finishing a speech, when his phone buzzed. Mrs. Carter, Margaret's friend, was frantic. "James, get to Willow Grove now." A planter fell from Cynthia's balcony and smashed Sunny. Margaret's fine, but she's rattled. James's stomach dropped. He sped to the estate, finding a knot of stunned neighbors around Sunny's wreckage. Margaret sat on a bench, pale but unharmed, soothed by Mrs. Carter. James's legal mind snapped into focus. He studied the scene: broken concrete, twisted metal, the balcony above. Mrs. Carter pointed to Cynthia's unit. "It came from there, James." No, it just fell. Anger surged, but he stayed composed, asking Greg about cameras. Greg, nervous, led him to a cluttered office where grainy footage showed a figure on Cynthia's balcony, pushing the planter. The face was blurry, but the motion was deliberate. Cynthia, grilled later by Detective Mark, denied it all, blaming a freak wind. Her shaky bravado betrayed her. Next morning, forensics found scuff marks on the balcony railing and Cynthia's fingerprints on the planter hers alone. With witness accounts and her history of feuding with Margaret, the Evy was ironclad. Willow Grove buzzed as Cynthia's arrest hit the news, her reckless act fueling outrage. Residents, long cowed by her reign, shared tales of her petty vendettas, painting a picture of a woman drunk on control. James handed the trial to prosecutor Laura Bennett, but stayed closely involved. The case was bulletproof. The VY fingerprints, and Margaret's poignant testimony about Sonny's role in her life and Cynthia's bullying left no room for doubt. The defense's claim that the fingerprints were from earlier gardening was shot down by Evy of their freshness. After a swift 3-hour deliberation, the jury conned Ted Cynthia of felony assault and battery. The judge, revolted by her callousness, sentenced her to 20 years, no parole for 15. The courtroom hummed with grim approval. But as Cynthia wept, a clerk rushed in with a note. Laura's eyes widened, and after a hushed sidebar, the judge spoke. New Evy shows the balcony railing's bolts were tampered with, deliberately weakened to make the planter easier to dislodge. The room exploded. Cynthia screamed. She was framed. The judge adjourned the trial, ordering a fresh investigation. James's gut twisted sensed a deeper plot. Suspicion fell on Tom. A search of his apartment uncovered a deleted journal on his cloud account, seething with hatred for Margaret's nagging and Cynthia's insults. He'd loosened the balcony bolts over weeks, knowing Cynthia handled the planter and hoping she'd shove it in a fit of rage, framing her for hurting Margaret. His scheme was chillingly precise. Cynthia, though guilty, was also Tom's puppet. The case grew murky, revealing a tangle of malice in Willow Grove. Margaret drew strength from her neighbors, but justice remained elusive. Evyl, it seemed, wore a deceptively plain mask. What do you think, was Cynthia's sentence fair, or was she just Tom's scapegoat? Should Tom face worse punishment for his cunning plot? Share your take below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping tales. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.